what I believe is an absolute critical need for strong leadership. And leadership is dedicated to principles of right and wrong and what's best for the community, the entire community, as opposed to partisan politics or empty narratives or hashtags and promises that don't get held up. How about leaders that just always keep their word and only tell you the truth even when the truth hurts or when the truth is difficult? We'll disagree with somebody when it's time to disagree, and we'll passionately support those things that I think we all agree with. That was the motivator. I've got 2 daughters growing up in this town, and I think I owe whatever I can offer at this point in time to try to give them a community they can be proud of and part of solving some of the problems that we're clearly facing right now. I will always be authentic. I am what I am. I'm not a politician. I'm a decision maker. I have tried to bring whatever I can to bear in my professional experience to try to help people to try to fix problems. So you don't have to worry about me spinning or becoming a different animal than what I am. I'm authentic that way. I will always be accountable. That's the word that we just talked about, which I believe is really the central demand that I keep getting from everybody when you talk about who they're voting for any office. They just want somebody to be accountable. And I think the last part of that is they want availability. They want to know that regardless of what neighborhood they're from, or whether they're a very well-connected, powerful person in the community, or whether they're just your average Joe in the community, they can pick the phone and their elected officials will be available for them. I look at that office right now, and what I see pretty obviously is a lack of strong leadership within the office, starting with Mr. Warren himself. And Andrew's a nice guy. I'm not here to bash Andrew. But when you have different outcomes occurring in different divisions and different attorneys handling things different ways, so that an accused person in this division is likely not to necessarily get the same opportunity in another division for the same charge or the same thing, that's a problem. When you talk about programs that are designed to help people with, whether it's mental health or veterans or individuals with substance abuse, I'm all for it. I'm all in favor of that. But let's make sure that we are not allowing people who are actually violent or career repeat offenders get into those programs, because those aren't the ones those are business people who have made a calculated decision to engage in what they're doing. The gun violence, the amount of the body count that is stacking up there, and these are our at-risk communities that can't afford any more harm, any more crime, any more tragedy going on there. And yet you see nothing but escalations over the last year and a half in those areas, and that's not acceptable. I believe when you talk about accountability, what we're looking for is knowing that regardless of your affluence or the color of your skin, you are going to get the same outcome that anybody else would. Whether that means, having a very serious sanction because you've now just committed a crime against our public that we won't stand for, or getting a rehabilitative opportunity. Let's just make sure that it's equal, and let's make sure it's all done the right way. Reestablish that connection and that endeavor with the community, so that if I'm sentencing a kid to say do some community service as part of their diversions, you're going to go do community service in your neighborhood with a community task force made up of the leaders from that neighborhood and with the pastors and everybody else. You hurt that community, now go spend some Saturdays cleaning up that community. That's effective now. That's a way to get attention of somebody and hopefully change outcome. And so when you're talking about a single position that wields great influence and has as much input into the beginning of that process as the outcomes of that process, I'm not aware of another office that's more important than the Office of State Attorney. It's the one where, if you're talking about what does the community want, the community wants to ensure that every person gets a fair shake and is treated the same, regardless of what neighborhood they live in, regardless of the size of their tax return. They want to know it's all going to be fair and the same. And we learned this from when we were kids. No child likes to be treated differently. Joey got away with it. Why do I have to pick up my room? I mean, we learned that response back at the earliest ages. Adults are any different. If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. If you're gonna charge them over here for this, charge them over here for this. And That is such an important role now, today more than ever. Everybody's got to be held accountable in the same way with the same expectations.